that he can always claim coming off, man, I didn't know things were so awful. Bill Clinton did that. George Bush Sr. did that. Who's to say Mitt Romney, if he were to be elected, wouldn't do that?
Well, I tell you, Annie and I, my wife, that's the woman I've been living with for 57 years, we were in France during just while that election was going on. And we think that after Hollande has trounced Sarkozy, that he's going to come in and say, now we need an audit, and then he's going to say, I never dreamed that France was in this condition. And what I promised you about taking the retirement age back to 62 from 60 and the 35-hour work week, all of that is just Disney World.
What do you think? But then do what? You know, there's been talk that a number of advisors have said if the president wants to turn this whole, you know, languid kind of polling around, he could just be bold and say, you know what? What Alan did with Erskine, I'm for that now. I'm for the debt commission now. Better late than never. How likely do you think that is?
I don't know that it is, but I was with Bill Clinton this morning, part of the program. John Boehmer. It was a great program with the Peterson Institute, talking about real things, talking about Bowles-Simpson. We don't use Bowles-Simpson. Bowles told me not to use that because the acronym is BS, so we use Simpson-Bowles, and that's all right. That's all right, but let me tell you, Erskine always says that he would have gone, and he did go to President Obama, and he said, look, you appointed this group by executive order, and you set up some of the members. They came in 11 of the 18, that's 60%. And Erskine goes like this. He said, I know my friend Clinton, he'd just wrap his arms around that and say, I'll take that, I'll buy that package. And he could have done that.
He could have done. Well, that was then. It's a lost opportunity now. But you could be late and never. The one thing I did want to touch on, and you mentioned, I thought it was a very perceptive comment, as all yours are. But this idea that these big tax issues are backing up like planes at LaGuardia, that they all expire at the end of the year. All the Bush rates, the payroll tax thing, a host of others affecting Social Security, Medicare, you name it. And they all end at the end of this year. Now, you talked about, at a minimum, they're probably going to do some mamby-pamby 6-month extension thing, but that it will be a lame duck session that does it. You really still believe that?
They're going to be punished. I really believe that many of these people who swear that they won't touch precious Medicare, precious Medicaid, precious Social Security, and precious defense, the people will know these people are full of it. They're full of BS. You can't get there without touching those big ones. In fact, right now, last year, the income into the United States, excise, tariff, income tax, only covered 3 things. Every cent of revenue covered Medicare, Medicaid, Social Security, and we had to borrow everything for defense, you know, Homeland Security, culture, research and development, infrastructure. Madness. And I think they're going to punish guys because they know they're just damn liars.
But, you know, you get your share of grief from a lot of AARP folks and older Americans who say, you know, as a fellow old guy, you've let them down. You're out to kill the old people. You're out to starve them. You're out to destroy them. That you're all but a murderer. What do you say?
How about the Cat Food Commission?
Yes,
I
remember that one.
I
remember that one. And then even the cats walked out. They were so ticked off at you. But how do you feel? Does that really eat away at you?
Well, I tell you, I can't tell you what they must be doing in the offices of the AARP, scrunched down behind the desks, because the Social Security trustees, these are Democrats and Republicans of high regard, cabinet people, laymen, they said that the drop-dead date, which was always 2036 until last week, is now going to be 2033, and I haven't heard a peep out of the AARP. These guys are fake. I mean, they're monsters. They're monsters.
So what is it that keeps them around? They just kowtow to groups that don't like. Because one thing I noticed about AARP is since I crossed a certain threshold, that I get a card mailed to me. And I don't want the card. And then I get another card. I don't want that card. I get another card. Who makes their cards? Because whoever does that is the guy you want doing what you want them to do, because that dude is very productive.
It's like when I was in the Army, we always looked for the bugler. Figured if we could get
He's always on time.
We were, but let me tell you, the AARP, I had a hearing on those cats when I was in the Senate.
They hate you, Alan. They hate you. They think you are not only the death of the AARP, but of everyone over 50 years old in this country.
That's right. And I tell you one thing, they're only a bunch of marketers. Get their publication. I mean, really, they took out the big full-page ad about sex. I think I got it. It looked like some dyed white-haired cat pouncing on some gal on a ladder. They've taken that ad out, but they still have the erectile dysfunction ads and all the rest of the stuff in there. It's a beautiful magazine. It's about how to get any kind of implement and charge it to Medicare or Medicaid, and we'll take care of that for you. I mean, what?
Are you saying that things like Viagra shouldn't be paid for by Medicare?
Well, certainly
Medicaid?
They should be paid for by eager senior citizens who are eager, and that's the way it should be. Like, well, I won't get into it, but certainly it's an interesting enhancement.
Well, it's a way to counter stiff competition.
Well,
but
it is.
So finally, I just want to get a sense from you about this late campaign conversion, either on the part of the president or Mitt Romney, for your work and Erskine's work. Both men ostensibly say they admire your bravery and your goals. Both have yet to 100% support it. Could you envision a late conversion on the part of either to your recommendations by Election Day?
No, not by Election Day. After Election Day, yes, but not before.
Who's your candidate then? Who's your candidate?
Well, you know, I'm a Republican. I've watched them scrap through there, and I like Romney. The president appointed me to this. I'm obviously not voting for him, but I think Romney's the guy, and I think anybody that says...
But he's not embraced what you're doing, Alan.
Nobody embraces what we're doing. They'll get cremated. Nobody has mentioned a thing about Social Security, even when they're told that it's going down the road 3 years quicker than it was supposed to.
Well, because you say all these awful things about old people. That's why.
I know it. Well, I'm talking about old selfish people. I'm talking about guys on Medicare who aren't means tested, who get a heart operation for 200 grand, don't even get a bill, and they could buy this studio. I talk about those people. They're selfish.
They can't buy this studio.
Selfish.
Maybe rent it, but they can't buy it. Alan Simpson?
They could lease it or something.
Alan Simpson, you're the best. Thank you very, very much. Agree or disagree?
Thank you.
In a land where everyone says vanilla stuff and never means a word of it, this guy is clear as a bell. Maybe too clear for some of you, but he's clear. FBI, what is really behind the administration's probe of one J.P. Morgan? Well, the judge knows.